Hello and welcome to Void Electronics. In today's video I would like to do something completely different from what I usually do around here, and that's because I'm in Tokyo. And if you know a thing or two about Tokyo, you probably know Akihabara, which is the famous district in Tokyo that used to be known for electronics shops and markets, but also other things related to otaku culture like anime, manga and so on. Now, even though these shops are in decline as we speak, many of them are still there and they are still worth visiting if you're into electronics and especially if you're into older stuff. So let's have a look and see what we can find around there. So this is what the neighborhood looks like, and now let's explore the electronics shops around here. Most of the electronics shops are located under the Sobu Line railway track or nearby. Sobu Line is of course one of the lines that take you to Akihabara. The biggest electronics parts store around here is the Tokyo Radio department store, which we're going to visit first. As you can see, the store consists of many smaller shops that are usually dedicated to a specific category of parts. For example, here we have some electrical parts that I'm not that interested in, so I moved on. Unfortunately, stores like this are in decline, so as you can see, many of them went out of business or shifted their business from selling parts to selling anime figures, manga, and so on. And here we finally found something interesting. This shop sells all sorts of parts, mostly passive components, connectors, and so on. I stopped here because I wanted to buy something. I really like these alligator clips because they look high quality. So I was really happy that the owner gave me permission to film here. Moving on, I found some ham radio shops. Since I'm not a ham radio operator, I cannot comment too much, but if you're a ham radio operator, then this should be definitely on your list. I found lots of portable transceivers. Here we probably have the ICOM flagship transceiver, judging by the size of this thing and by the fact that it costs around $3,000. Moving on, I found some tools. And I even went back off camera and I bought some pliers that look high quality. Once again, we have even more passives, more transceivers and ham radio parts. Here we have a memorial of an old shop that closed down that was featured on the Tokyo Lens YouTube channel. And here we have a shop that specializes on vacuum tube audio amplifiers. When was the last time you saw vacuum tubes in a store? That's unheard of in Europe at least. Moving on, we have some more transceivers and even more transceivers, all sorts of ham radio stuff. Then we have some manga and anime cards, and at the end of the alley I found some more electrical parts like sockets, wires, and so on. I also found an interesting electrical parts store nearby, which holds an overwhelming amount of relays and timers. I think I've never seen so many relays in one place actually. They also had lots of warning lights, and the nice thing about this is that they made some demo panels with their products. So you can actually see the warning lights in action, and you can hear the relays clicking in the background as they're being toggled by a timer. Now it's time to see what we can find upstairs. On the first floor it was complete chaos. There were radios, close to CDs, close to scissors, and who knows what else, so it was impossible to process all those since they were not nicely categorized. Moving on, we have even more transceivers, mostly portable ones. And here in the corner there was a really nice shop holding almost anything you can think of. Passive components, connectors, tools, screwdrivers, and so on. Here were all sorts of switches. And I think this part really highlights what Akihabara is all about. An old Japanese man selling parts while listening to the radio as trains go by above us. I really love this vibe. Now this corner was interesting because there were some kits there and I really wanted to buy some Japanese beginner kits to see what they are like and to put them together on this channel, of course. I got a little bit confused while looking around because, as you can see, there weren't many English words on the boxes, so you don't really know what you get. Here I figured out those were kits, but to know more about them I had to use Google Translate. So I took some time to translate their descriptions and then I bought whatever sounded interesting. I also found some breadboards and I bought a few because they're always useful, and if you're too lazy to take apart your old prototypes like I do, you can never have enough breadboards, right? Moving on, there were some guitar pedals with prices, a QR code and everything, so check them out if you're into that. Moving on to some other chaotic shelf, we have some more vacuum tubes. So many of them that if you're a tube aficionado, your brain cannot process all the part numbers and it's hard to distinguish the useful audio tubes from the weird types no one cares about anymore. And these were definitely audio tubes, 6L6 and other such numbers sound familiar. And as expected, audio tubes had much higher prices than everything else. Here there were some Nixie tubes, because no vacuum tube store is complete without them, of course. When was the last time you saw Nixie tubes in store? Never, in my case. Moving on to the second floor, there are even more shops. The first one mostly held coolers of all shapes and sizes. Here they mostly had mains filters. Here there were some old school microcontroller boards. No idea what they were since they were only described in Japanese. Then we had even more passives, like capacitors of all shapes and sizes, more connectors, and so on. And here in the corner was a really interesting shop with an overwhelming amount of vacuum tubes. I spent lots of time there and I even bought a few vacuum tubes as souvenirs, but unfortunately it was owned by a really grumpy Japanese man who insisted I'm not allowed to take pictures or videos, so I complied, of course. Moving on to a more camera-friendly shop this time, we had some funny toys based on a basic computer board called IchigoJam. In typical Japanese style, instead of looking at some boring boxes with boards inside, you get to interact with the product and play with some of their demos, like this game with a treasure chest that had a tongue sticking out every time you approached it with a key. They had even more similar demos, all with the typical Japanese flashing lights and all that. And here you had to trick the alligator by moving your hand before it got the chance to bite you. The computer had all these accessory boards similar to Arduino shields. Of course I couldn't help myself and I bought one and a whack-a-mole accessory board. Moving on, here we have an LED shop, believe it or not. Once again, this is unconceivable by European standards, but I guess it makes sense here in Japan. They had all sorts of LEDs here, from individual ones to LED strips to LED matrices and so on. Once again, I was really happy that I got permission to film here because it was visually pleasing to look around. Of course, just like before, they also had demos to catch your attention and so that you know exactly what you get, which is some really nice customer service that we could adopt here in Europe too. And finally, moving away from the Tokyo Radio department store, you can find the famous Rocket Ham Radio shop. This is probably the largest ham radio shop in this area, and once again they had everything from transceivers, antennas and connectors to power supplies and dummy loads. I'm back to the hotel room now, and I don't know about you, but I bet you got tired just by watching this video, let alone experiencing all these shops in person. Even though I am an electronics enthusiast, I have to admit that spending too much time in Akihabara can be exhausting. Unfortunately, not all places are okay with you filming there, so I had to skip some interesting shops like Dynamic Audio that had some high-end audio amplifiers that I've only seen in online pictures before. I also skipped the famous Yodobashi camera and Big Camera because they only have up-to-date appliances and they are not really my thing, but these are definitely worth visiting too. That's about it, so if you want to see what I bought in Akihabara, please let me know in the comments and I will do a follow-up video. Thanks for watching. Bye.